a toy. But compromise.
No, I think I should have left it.
Very good. It's possible. Mace, you lost the radio, but you learned a lesson.
The film opens with a high-speed chase as one car pursues another, trying to force a woman to stop. When she pulls over, masked gunmen swarm the vehicle, shatter the windows, and attempt to pull her out. Suddenly, a well-dressed man appears, causing the attackers to freeze. They recognize him and say his name, Randall Thompson. Though Randall had never met them, the group behaved as if they knew him. Struggling to remain composed, he watched the woman suddenly flee the car only to be shot in the leg. As Randall rushed to help her, he was gunned down. Chaos erupted as the group reeled from how quickly everything had spiraled out of control. One of them panicked, but the gunman fired again, killing Randall. Searching his pockets, they found a police badge and took it before fleeing. Across the street, a shop owner witnessed everything and quickly called the police. Soon after, Randall was honored at his funeral for his military service and mercenary skills. Randall's daughter, Anna, attended the funeral with her teacher, Cara, both mourning deeply. Later, Randall's brother, Carl, arrived unexpectedly, surprising but comforting Anna, who had no other family. She introduced him to Cara, who greeted him warmly. It was clear Carl intended to stay. On the way home with Anna, he asked questions, eager to learn more about the area. Anna explained that the area was dangerous and her father had always stood up to the gangs. He was killed after accidentally crossing paths with criminals while shopping. Frustrated, she blamed Carl for never visiting, despite Randall always hoping he would. She asked if he planned to leave again. Carl promised he wouldn't. Near the school, Carl spotted a group of teens harassing a woman. As he approached, she quickly walked away. The group then turned on Carl, taunting and following him, claiming they ran the area. Staying calm, Carl asked if they were seriously trying to threaten him. A police car arrived, scattering the teens, but after the officers left, they returned and opened fire on Carl. He dodged the shots, and the group fled. Later, Carl met his old friend Joey in a quiet spot. Joey had once worked with Shale, their former teacher now living in New York. Carl asked for his help investigating Randall's murder and whether a gang was behind it. Joey agreed to help Carl, glad to be working with him again, despite no pay. That night at a bar, they made plans. Joey said a shop owner had witnessed the murder but was too afraid to talk. When Carl asked about the shooter, Joey confirmed he was a student at Lantro High and a member of the Brotherhood gang. The attackers wore hoodies backward with eye holes, and the shop owner confirmed they were high school students. Joey stressed the urgency to act. The next day, Carl visited Cara with drinks, and she was glad to see him. When he asked about Randall's replacement, Cara said the school was seeking a substitute for its most violent class. Carl mentioned he used to teach self-defense and offered to take Randall's place. Cara was hesitant but agreed to help if he got certified. The next day, Anna returned to school for the first time since her father's death and reunited with her best friend, Dany. Carl arrived at the school to meet with the administration, guided by shop teacher Warren Drummond. On the way, Warren asked if he was the new substitute for the troubled class. Dany passed by, thanked Warren, but seemed uneasy. In class, Carl noticed many students looked more like gang members than typical high schoolers. After getting his hall pass, Carl got lost, but was redirected by a security guard. Upon entering the classroom, he found chaos students partying, drinking soda, dancing, and flirting, with no sign of learning. He tried to introduce himself, but they ignored him completely. When a student named Dante asked to lower the music, the class groaned. Carl joked with a student holding a soda, asking if he brought enough for everyone, earning laughter from the room. He then introduced himself as the new substitute teacher. Carl noticed a student with a broken arm, reportedly from playing basketball. When Dante joked that teaching could be just as dangerous, Carl pulled out a yo-yo and asked if anyone recognized it. He explained it was once used as a weapon in the Philippines 400 years ago. Carl threw the yo-yo, shattering a soda bottle to show it could be a weapon. He used the moment to teach a lesson. Don't judge by appearances and share if you bring soda. The class fell silent, some students intrigued and quietly plotting to test him later. At lunch, a few mocked Carl, unaware Joey was secretly filming nearby. In the teacher's lounge, Carl met his wearied, disheartened colleagues. One joked about how he survived his first class. Carl said the kids acted tough, but he wasn't sure they truly were. Another teacher noted that Randall once thought the same. A teacher sarcastically mentioned Randall's fate, but Warren cut in, hinting Carl's students wouldn't change either. Despite his smug tone, he invited Carl for a walk and questioned why he chose that class, subtly suggesting he should have picked an easier one, perhaps as a warning. Cara walked over, playfully pretending not to know Carl, and asked Warren to introduce them. Meanwhile, Anna ran into Dennis in a Mustang. She complimented the car and asked how he could afford it, but he dodged the question and invited her for a ride. She agreed. At the same time, Carl and Joey were secretly following a group of students suspected to be Brotherhood members, possibly linked to Randall's death. They followed the group to an abandoned factory, where the gang was torturing the shop owner who had witnessed Randall's murder. Sneaking in, unnoticed, Carl and Joey saw the man hanging by his arms, being brutally beaten. When Joey asked if they should intervene, Carl nodded. The gang leader was accusing the victim of spreading rumors that they had killed the teacher, insisting they were just students. The man tearfully begged for his life and confessed to calling the police, prompting the gang to beat him even more brutally. Meanwhile, Carl quietly prepared his tactical gear. Unarmed, Joey stepped out and warned the gang to let the man go or face consequences. To back him up, Carl shot a few of them in the leg. Joey aimed his gun at the gang leader, threatening to shoot unless the man was freed. Realizing the threat was real, the leader gave in and untied the victim. Joey warned the gang not to move until the laser dots vanished or they'd be shot. Frozen in place, they watched as Joey confidently led the victim out. At home, Anna and Dennis were getting intimate, but she pulled back when things went too far, deflecting with a joke when he asked why. Suddenly, Carl arrived, startling Anna, who rushed Dennis to sneak out. She then greeted Carl downstairs as he joked about teaching you history. Anna laughed, and before leaving, Carl said he understood what teens were going through. That night, students from the special class planned a car theft. Mace, carrying a radio, broke into a vehicle while his friend disabled the alarm. They calmly drove off. Joey watched the students silently from the shadows. Meanwhile, Carl spent the evening having drinks with Cara. When she asked about his past, he revealed that Randall was both his brother and partner. They had been mercenaries. Carl said Randall inspired him to become a teacher and make a difference. Carl got a call from Joey, who said he'd set a trap with a bait car Dante, and Mace had taken it. He asked Carl to guess where it was headed, and they agreed to meet. Carl thanked Cara before leaving, though she wished he could stay. When they met, Joey showed him where the stolen car had been taken. Carl wanted to act immediately, but Joey urged patience, saying tomorrow would matter more. He gave Carl a recording of the gang plotting to attack him. The next day, Carl arrived at school as usual, and Dante greeted him sarcastically, calling him the man with the lesson plan. Carl smiled and began teaching. One student faked illness to sneak out and let gang members in through the back door. Meanwhile, Mace blasted loud music and ignored Carl. After several warnings, Carl decided it was time to teach the class a lesson. Carl explained that letting Mace keep playing music would create a deadlock. With no compromise possible, he threw the radio out the window, silencing the class. Enraged, Mace pulled a knife and showed off, but Carl swiftly disarmed him and kept the weapon. Carl made it clear he wasn't trying to embarrass anyone, just wanted the class to know he was in charge and there to help. Noticing Keshin hadn't returned from the bathroom, he went to check the boys' area. Gang members ambushed Carl, but prepared by Joey's warning, he swiftly took them down. In the classroom, Keshin heard the noise and rushed in, announcing Carl might be under attack while Mace stayed out of it. Mace was still reflecting on Carl's words. Meanwhile, Carl fought in the bathroom, using his training to overpower an attacker and force a confession about Randall Thompson's death. Afterward, he calmly adjusted his tie and watch. Just then, the security guard walked in and praised his skills. The security guard, Jonathan Barty, introduced himself and noted Carl fought like a Green Beret. He mentioned serving in the 1st Battalion in 1971, 1972, and suspected the attackers weren't real students, they were likely let in by someone inside the school. Jonathan suspected Carl was undercover, and made it clear he knew he wasn't just a regular teacher. He offered to handle things and told Carl to return to class, asking to meet later in the basement. Carl went back as if nothing had happened and found Kashan in the spotlight. Carl checked on Kashan, but the other students were suspicious due to his lie. After class, Carl asked Mace to stay and asked about the radio's value. Mace said it was somewhat expensive. Carl told him he had the potential to change, but Mace reacted angrily, feeling misunderstood. Mace revealed his father was in prison, his brother was dead, and he didn't know where his mother was. The gang was all he had. Carl listened and reminded him he still had the power to choose a different path. Somber, Mace returned the yo-yo and walked away. Later, Kashan and his friends checked the bathroom, but all signs of the fight were gone. Kashan insisted Carl had fought the gang, but his friends remained skeptical. Later, Carl met Jonathan in the basement, where the guard showed him his living quarters and military gear. Carl was struck by Jonathan's dedication and sense of duty. During their conversation, he revealed he was tracking down his brother Randall's killer. Jonathan and Carl shared a soda while Jonathan described hearing strange noises at night and spotting unauthorized people entering the building, though no one was ever there when he checked. Carl suggested teaming up and bringing in another ally to help investigate. That same day, on her way home, Anna was stopped by members of the Brotherhood gang. The gang threatened Anna, warning her to stop Carl from meddling in their business and to pretend the encounter never happened. Shaken, she told Carl, who advised her to stay home for a few days. Though reluctant, she agreed. That night, Carl, Joey, and Jonathan met at the school to investigate the strange noises. They moved quietly through the garage as Jonathan led them down a hidden passage. Carl went ahead and discovered Warren with several students, clearly engaged in illegal activity. He returned and reported that Warren was running a chop shop, dismantling 3 to 4 cars a week and selling the parts cheaply. They estimated Warren was making over $100,000 a month. Meanwhile, Dante informed him that police had tracked a stolen car, sparking a chase, and the worst news, Mace was dead. Warren, however, showed no emotion over the loss. The next morning, Carl met with the grieving students except Dante, who coldly remarked that Mace took a risk and paid the price. Carl disagreed, insisting school shouldn't be a battlefield and students shouldn't be dying. Dante replied that for people like him, the real world already is. Dante argued that, unlike Carl, they had to fight for everything since nothing came easy. He blamed Mace's death on the police, not himself. Still, Carl suspected Dante might be linked to Randall's death, whether he knew it or not. After class, Carl visited Cara to learn more about who Warren really was. Cara explained that Warren was well liked at school but cold and controlling in private. They had dated briefly, but she ended it due to his possessiveness. The next day, during a break, Carl quietly asked her to look into Warren's background and past jobs. As Carl and Cara talked, Warren watched them from a distance, suspicion in his eyes. Later, while Carl was home with Joey, Cara called, saying she had found something important and urged them to come over immediately. Before leaving, they warned Anna not to open the door for anyone. But soon after, someone knocked on Cara's door. Cara was startled when Warren showed up with a bag of food, claiming he was just passing by. Feeling uneasy, she quickly hid the folder meant for Carl. Warren maintained a friendly front while subtly probing for information about Carl. Meanwhile, Anna quietly slipped out to meet Dany. Dany welcomed Anna into his room, but quickly made her uncomfortable by moving too fast. While he was in the bathroom, she noticed a condom on the table, which unsettled her. Even more alarming, she discovered her father's police badge in one of his drawers. Terrified, Anna kept searching and found a Brotherhood gang outfit in Dany's closet. As she hurried to get dressed and leave, Dany returned. Anna confronted him, asking if he had killed her father. Dany claimed her father had interfered with the Brotherhood's money. As tension rose, Dany grabbed a knife, but Anna, trained in karate, fought back with a powerful kick and smashed a glass over his head. When he lunged again, she broke free and escaped. Meanwhile, at Cara's house, Warren snapped, throwing her across the room and revealing his violent side. Accusing her of betrayal, he began hitting her repeatedly. Warren demanded to know Carl's true identity, and Cara finally revealed he was Randall Thompson's brother. She tried to escape, but Warren caught her, beat her, and fatally shot her. He then ordered his men to kill Carl and follow no one's orders but his. As Warren left the building, he spotted Carl and Joey approaching and quickly hid, waiting for the right moment. Luckily, they didn't see him. Inside, Carl was devastated to find Cara dead. He discovered the folder she had prepared, which revealed that Warren was a former U.S. Marine operative. Warren was honorably discharged under special circumstances and had been suspected of illegal operations in Honduras. In 1986, allegations he denied before being honored in 1987. Meanwhile, at home, Anna told Carl that Dany had set her up and was responsible for the murder. Dany admitted he committed the murder to prove himself to Warren. That night, Carl armed himself, ready to end it all. Joey picked him up, and they headed to the high school. He reported 2 cars full of gang members nearby, and soon, the gang arrived. The gang stormed the school, armed, intent on killing Carl. He, Joey, and Jonathan retreated inside, triggering a shootout that turned the school into a war zone. Several gang members were seriously wounded, while Carl, Joey, and Jonathan emerged unscathed. They took cover in another room and locked the door. With Joey wounded and feeling trapped, Carl noticed a gas can and quickly devised a plan. Carl placed the gas can by the door, and when the gang fired, it exploded, buying them time to escape. Jonathan led them through a tunnel to a hidden room stocked with old weapons. They armed themselves and prepared to fight back, as the gang pressed on but took heavier losses. After a fierce shootout, Jonathan tossed a smoke grenade. As it cleared, Carl took down the gang leader while Joey and Jonathan held off the others. Amid the chaos, the gang accidentally shot and killed their own leader. With his last breath, he revealed Warren Drummond was behind it all. Carl confronted Warren in his classroom, accusing him of killing Cara and referencing her final notes that exposed the truth. Panicked, Warren denied it and tried to deflect by revealing Carl's mercenary past to the class. He reached for a gun in his briefcase, but Carl stopped him, and a brutal fight erupted between the two. Warren used a flamethrower, but Carl disarmed him and counterattacked, ultimately stabbing him in the eye with a light bulb and leaving him severely injured. The students watched, unsure who to side with, as Warren kept fighting despite being knocked down repeatedly by Carl. From upstairs, Anna saw the struggle and rushed to help her uncle. The fight escalated, both men unleashing their full strength. In the end, Warren managed to stab Carl's hand with a screwdriver. Despite the injury, Carl fought back with determination. The students watched in fear, thinking he might be killed, but he rose and ultimately stabbed Warren, ending the fight. The class fell silent, showing no sympathy for Warren. Afterwards, Anna and Joey rushed to Carl's side, thanking him for everything. Jonathan clapped, telling the students to return to class. It was finally over. As they left, Dante showed a rare moment of kindness, urging Carl to see a doctor and rest. Carl thanked Joey for always being there. Later, he and Anna visited Randall's grave, leaving flowers and his badge. Anna asked Carl to stay, but he gently declined, saying he was proud of her. They embraced as the film came to a close.